There's quite a storm system that is rolling through right now. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's a tree that just split and broke off. And I heard another one just crash down. 1 a.m. The rain is getting harder and harder every hour. We're gonna call this home tonight. I guess during this little break between the rain, might be a good idea to get our tent set up. Famous last words. As soon as I said it stopped raining, the rain started again. So I've jumped in the tent, peeled off my wet rain gear, and I'm gonna get a couple of layers on because it's amazing how quickly your core temperature drops as soon as you stop hiking. But I guess, right, that's the nature of hiking in the shoulder seasons. It is, what is it? It's end of October. I think we're sitting at about 5:30 in the evening, so I've got about half an hour, 45 minutes till the sun goes down. I'm gonna work on getting my sleeping system set up. I think I'm gonna skip dinner tonight. I kind of overate yesterday for some celebrating and overate again this morning to make up for it, and just not really feeling that hungry. But I will take some time and make up a hot cup of coffee before bed just so I can get nice and toasty warm. I kind of borrowed my wife's sleeping bag, so don't tell her. It's the Mountaintop 800 fill down with a comfort rating of 0 to 32 degrees. Obviously not 0, but it does stand up to the cold a little bit better than my normal bag that I use. And this is definitely more of a shoulder season bag. Pair that with my Exped Ultra with a R value of 5. I think I'm going to be cozy tonight, hopefully. It is supposed to dip down into the lower 30s, but the forecast doesn't show any freezing weather tonight. Tomorrow, when we get up to our second camp for this 3-day venture, it's definitely going to dip down below freezing, and there might actually be some snowfall throughout the day, too. We'll see how that goes. I might get a little chilly tomorrow night, because I did not bring a second sleeping mat. I was thinking about bringing a closed foam mat that I could put underneath this, but I ended up packing extra clothes because it is going to rain this entire 3-day hike, and I wanted to be able to have kind of a backup emergency plan if all my clothes get drenched and I wanted to switch into something other than my sleep gear for the day. But that's it for the night. All right, see you in the morning. 1 a.m. The rain is getting harder and harder every hour. I don't think I'm going to get much sleep tonight. Good morning. It is almost 8 a.m. I stayed in the tent as long as I possibly could. We had, so far, 13 hours of straight rain. It's just barely drizzling now, but it's still rain. It's a lot more than I expected last night. I'm gonna go grab the food bag, get a cup of coffee started, and then we'll See if I can get my eyes to fully open and figure out what the plan is for today. Probably didn't even need to hang that last night. The weather's so crappy, I can't even imagine the bears are out right now. The river is pretty amazing. When I was up here just 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, everything was just crystal clear because it was, the end of summer. We hadn't had really any rain. Now the river is nice, thick brown. Looks like the level is already a couple feet higher than it was just a couple weeks ago. Just amazing what a few days of rain can do. Doesn't that look yummy? Definitely a little siltier than it was a couple weeks ago. But that's why we filter our water. Welcome to Casa de la Benson. I've taken a stick and propped up the rainfly to make a bit of an awning. And I'm finding it rained my food bag, my waterproof food bag, is soaking wet on the inside. So apparently, not completely waterproof. Alright, since I skipped dinner last night, I'm going to have my Thai curry for breakfast this morning. Nobody has to be around me, so I can eat whatever I want. I know I'm kind of breaking my rule by having all these prepackaged meals, but about a month ago I went and I picked up a whole bunch of them because I was going to start sampling them and trying out different meals, and it's about the same time that I got my own food dehydrator because I realized I could do it a heck of a lot cheaper if I just make all these meals at home. So I'm slowly working my way through the pre-made backpacking meals, and some of them have actually been really good. These good-to-go meals, these are by far the best tasting ones that I found so far, and they have a lot of different sales on them. These are always nice. I think you can pick them up at REI and some other stores. But I'm going to have Thai curry for breakfast and make up a cup of coffee, and we'll figure out what we're going to do today, because that little bit of a break we had there with the rain is done. It is coming down hard again, really, really hard. I've got even a lot of backsplash that came in underneath the rainfly during one of those gusts that came in last night. So I've got mixed, dirt and debris here in the bug netting. It's just kind of an icky situation, but we're making the best of it if we can. We're out in nature, right? So you can't really complain about what nature's doing. This is its backyard. While we're waiting for that, we're going to make up a nice special treat. This is it's a barley-infused coffee. I know it sounds a little weird, but trust me, it is delicious. If you can open it. Something my wife found for me a couple months ago, and God, I love it. It's a nice special treat. It's nice and rich and creamy. We're gonna have some barley coffee, mix in some instant coffee with it. See if I can warm up. It is not getting any warmer out here. Okay, so 4 cups of coffee, 1 hot breakfast later. It's almost 10 o'clock, and this rain is not letting up. But I am not going to let that stop the adventure. I'm going to go ahead and pack up all my wet gear, see if I can fit all the wet stuff in the outside of my bag as best as possible, and then head on up to Echo Lake. Again, that's only about 5 miles, so we'll head up, find a good place to set up camp, get things set up before it gets too late in the day, and then I'll do a little bit of exploring. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Fall is definitely here. Just wish it would stop raining long enough to get out and explore without being soaking wet. As usual, the camera on this phone is not doing the beauty justice. I mean, the rain is kind of cool, but what's just amazing is all the fall colors. Everything's just so alive with oranges and reds and greens. This is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's safe to say, I don't think it's going to stop raining today. Got about a mile till we get to the lake. Currently doing the last 300 feet of elevation gain before we drop down into the little valley where the lake's at. It's been a beautiful day, despite the fact that I'm carrying way too much weight and I'm getting dumped on in the rain. But to put it into perspective, as I'm whining and complaining here, about an hour ago, I was passed by 4 trail runners that were on their way back from Echo Lake. This was 4 ladies, all in their late 60s, early 70s, just out for a morning jog before getting their day started. And here I am, making it a multi-day trip, coughing and wheezing as I go. This is my favorite part of this hike. It's just as the lake comes into view, and not because it's beautiful, but because I know I get to take a break. So it's been a lot harder, just 5 miles than I expected. And I think it's because I'm carrying probably twice the weight as normal, and despite all the rain gear, I am wet. I don't know if I'm wet with sweat or if maybe this decathlon jacket isn't suited for as heavy of rain and as number of hours in the water as I've put it through today. But just coming up to the lake, I'm gonna go and find a campsite to set up our gear, and then we'll do some exploring. As you can hear, there's quite a storm system that is rolling through right now. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's a tree right about there that just split and broke off. I heard another one just crash down on the other side of the lake where we came in on the trail. The temperature has dropped dramatically. I think I'm maybe in the low 30s. It's not freezing yet. It's still raining, but I'm going to keep an eye on this storm. I think before I set anything up, I'm going to refill my water, get some warm food in me so I can warm up again, and we'll kind of see what's going to happen, because we've got fresh snow right up there on the peak. That's only about 300, maybe 400 feet elevation higher than we are right now. It's making me a little nervous with the storm system. Obviously, I don't want to push my luck. I'm out here by myself, so safety is the first priority. But I'm going to get some warm water, then get it warm, and then get myself warm, and then we'll figure out what our next plan is. I don't know if you can hear it on the camera or not, but that storm is kicking up even more. Just had another tree go down in the distance. I'm not sure how far away it is. I couldn't see it. But not ideal. Not ideal at all. And I think I've successfully managed to clog my Sawyer with all this silt and grime from the river this morning. It's barely coming out of the trickle, but enough to get the job done. Waiting is the hardest part. So I'm going to have the Cuban rice bowl, also from Good to Go Meals. This one says 275 milliliters of boiling water, and I think I probably did a little too much again. I don't have an excuse this time. It's plenty light for me to read. I just didn't check. So maybe a little soupy. I've got to let that sit for 12 minutes. And then I've also got some water boiling so we can get a cup of coffee, trying to warm up a little bit. Pulling my raincoat off, I did check the inside, and it is actually dry inside. It just felt wet. And I think it's just the humidity coming off of my body, building up the moisture. Then you get that weird kind of wet, clammy layer in between you and your clothes. But all in all, the jacket actually did its trick. I just needed to regulate my body temperature a little bit better. Going uphill, I tend to sweat. Going downhill, I tend to get cold. The storm itself, I'm still not quite sure. It's taken a little break from the blowing, but I can see the snow level. Looks like it's come down quite a bit. That fog that was with the snow is really starting to drop down into the lower elevations here closer to the lake. I'm just glad the blowing stopped. I don't like being in an area where trees are falling down if I'm going to be camping. But it is almost 2 o'clock now, so we've got 10 minutes to 2. If we are going to scrap the day and head back to the truck for safety's sake, then that's roughly a 9-mile hike, 2 miles an hour. I'm going to need at least 4.5, probably 5 hours to do that trip, just because I'm moving a little slower, because I'm carrying a lot more weight and gonna be a little bit more tired than I was on the way out here. And that means I'll have to make up my mind here pretty soon. Last couple of miles will be in the dark if that's the case anyways, but as long as I get back to the Greenwater Lakes Trail area, I'm pretty familiar with that trail, and I feel perfectly safe doing that hike in the dark. I've done it a couple of times just this year in the dark to start out our camp or to head home after an early camp out. So I know I'm going to keep an eye on that storm. Again, safety is always your first priority, right? That's the key to solo hiking, is knowing when to just call it for safety's sake. And I don't know if I'm trying to talk myself into staying or if I'm trying to talk myself into going home. See how I feel after eating a nice warm lunch and getting some blood circulation going again. I really need to start following the directions on these things and putting in the right amount of water, because the flavor is delicious, but it's not supposed to be a stew. So our storm doesn't seem to know what it wants to do. Well, it's pretty awesome. The wind has actually blown the clouds away a little bit, so the peak is now starting to get exposed. And you can see the snowfall coming down on the peak, and there's a little bit of sunlight. So it's absolutely beautiful. I heard another tree crash just a couple of minutes ago, but the storm seems to have passed by. I've got to make my mind up here pretty soon if I'm going to turn around and head back. I don't know. I just don't want to cancel. This is supposed to be a 3-day adventure, and today's only day 2. This is my birthday weekend, so tomorrow is my birthday, and my wife graciously agreed to let me sneak off for the 2nd year in a row to go do an overnight birthday hike. I added a second night to this trip, and I don't know, may have been too lofty of a goal this time of year. It's one of the drawbacks to hiking in the higher elevations, is you're really beholden to the weather patterns. If I was out near the coastline or down at sea level, then I could count on a lot of rain, but it's in the 50s. Whereas up here, I'm in the mid-30s right now, and getting a lot of wind and rain, which is going to turn to snow tonight, and maybe quite a bit of ice as well. There is no doubt that is a gorgeous view. I don't think I'll ever get tired of looking at it. Of course, as soon as I just said that, another tree went down. So right there, it's only, I don't know, maybe 300 yards away from us. Yeah, definitely time to pack up and hit the trail again. All right, 2:30, packed up, and we are running back home with our tail between our legs. But I think I'm making the right judgment call, because I just watched yet another set of trees go down. It's one of the dangers of being near the old fire areas. It's just a lot of dead timber everywhere, which means in a big storm, strong possibility of that timber going down. But I am going to beat feet, try and get out of this burnt part of the forest, back into some of the safety of the old growth. We'll see how much, I ate too much. We'll see how good a time I can make trying to get out of here. Bye, Echo Lake. One of these days I will get to explore the other side of that lake. It's not today. I don't know if this was part of the crashing I heard earlier, but there's a half a dozen trees down along the trail that were not down when I came up here earlier. Here's a great example. That's a brand new windfall right there. Didn't realize the storm had reached all the way over here too. Apparently more force than I had originally thought. Yeah, that's a clean snap. That's some amazing winds. You can see down in the valley there's a couple other trees down, and back here where we came from, some others that were not down earlier today. The wind does seem to have subsided. The rain's given us a little break too, but I can see some snow flurries just on the outskirts of this little forest area. All just reaffirming that I made the right choice, because I don't want to camp out in the middle of a dead forest in a windstorm. Just a couple minutes before 4 o'clock. It is getting dark fast. Again, sunset's, I think it's 6:20 or so, but with how dark and these clouds are, it's, I think, gonna get dark a lot sooner than 6:20. I just passed one of my alternate sites that if I needed to hunker down for the night, I could set up camp. But again, I've still got a couple hours of daylight. The storm seems to have passed by, or maybe it hasn't made it to this side of the mountains yet, because I am, two mountains away from where that lake was at. Light rain. Feels nice and warm, but that's probably because I'm sweating so much. But gonna keep trucking along. The second site is up here about another mile or so, but I don't know, feeling pretty good about my progress. I think I'm gonna try and get back to the truck, even if it means a couple hours in the dark. All right, past the point of no return. I'm back to the upper Greenwater Lakes area. Got about 2 miles till I get back to the truck. It is 4:45. I'm making much better time than I had actually anticipated, so should be back to the truck before it gets dark. From here, it's only, I don't know, maybe an hour, 45 minutes to an hour hike. All in all, can we call the trip a success? We survived, and I had fun. So yes, it was a success. It's a little disappointing that, I wasn't able to do the second night out here. Could I have? Absolutely. I could even set up my tent here and make camp and enjoy an evening on the lake. There's actually a gorgeous, gorgeous campsite off that direction, but with how much it's been raining and the temperature dropping and not being where I want to be, here's another new tree. This was not down when I crossed here yesterday, so apparently the storm came through this area too. But anyways, I'm just gonna choose to pack it up and call it a day and head back home, snuggle into my bed with the electric blanket on, and write this trip off as a learning experience and a fun adventure. So that's it for me, folks. I'm going to sign off, try and get this last couple of miles done, Till next time, hope to see you out there on the trail soon. Let's go for a walk.